Hey, welcome in and welcome back everybody. Laura here, and we are going to talk about this Virgo new moon. So there's big changes afoot. I know it's been a hot minute since I've jumped on here and delivered a message for the collective. I think it's been about 3 weeks. So welcome back everybody. I want to thank you all for your patience as I went through a lot of transitions over the course of the last 3 weeks. But enough about me. Let's talk about this Virgo new moon. And so this Virgo new moon is at 0 degrees. We are going to have a second Virgo new moon on September the 21st, and that is going to be a solar eclipse. And in between these two new moons, we are going to have the Pisces full moon eclipse. And so we are going into eclipse territories over the course of the next month. And we've got this beautiful opportunity today to sit with ourselves and plant seeds. And then the eclipses are going to come and they're going to clear the path for whatever it is for the seeds that you are planting right now. So sit with that, think about it, because this new moon is highly aspected. You're going to see it right there up on the screen, what I'm looking at. And so when we look at this new moon, collectively it's happening in my local area, Eastern Standard Time, in the 3rd house of Leo at exactly 14 degrees, which to me screams temperance. We're still in a little bit of the post-retrograde energies of Mercury, and that shadowy energy a little bit, but things are moving again. And so this is where I had to take that huge step back, because it really did affect my 6th house, which is my work, my routines, my health. And that's what I've been focused on, is my health and my day-to-day routines, because in a couple weeks, we're going to be right back in the swing of things with back to school for the kids. And things are going to start to get busy again. And I needed to create that work-life balance. So as we see, this new moon is happening in the 3rd house. For me, it's also happening in my 6th house, where Mercury was retrograding as well. And so for me, it's a lot of reorientation. If you've noticed the post on the community tab, I did decide to deactivate, I guess we'll say deactivate the channel membership, where I would go live every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I would pull into all 12 zodiacs. So before I deactivate the membership, I do want to thank you all who have been channel members, and you will be reimbursed if you made a payment this month by Google. You will be reimbursed by Google AdSense if you did make a payment this month. So not to worry, okay? And I do plan on making all of those member videos public before I deactivate the membership, because there's lots brewing in the background, and I am going to be opening up a brand new astrology mentorship program through my webpage. So stay tuned. Everything is still getting mapped out. The seeds are getting planted, but the intention is there. So let's talk about this. The 3rd house. The 3rd house is the house of communication. It is the house of siblings. It is the house of cousins. It is the house of like our close neighbors and stuff like that. And so we see this new moon where I'm sitting at locally in the world in the 3rd house of Leo at 14 degrees temperance. So there is a need to bring balance into our lives. And because it's at 0 degrees 22, this is a potent energy to work with. I always think of 0 degrees as this God point energy, where we're needing to take that leap of faith. And key 22 in the tarot is the Fool card. And I do feel massive opportunities to build abundance, right? The Fool is asking us to take that leap of faith, to jump into the void, and to allow the eclipses to carry us where we need to go, because eclipses are for clearing the path, and there's going to be a lot of fated, destined changes over the course of the next month. And so if you feel like you're in the ebb and you're not quite in the flow, embrace the ebb, because the flow is going to get back in there after these eclipses, okay? We see Jupiter sitting in the 1st house, Jupiter in Cancer at 16 degrees 14. So there is a tower energy, but there's also healing, right? There's temperance, there's tempering these false foundations. And so anything false, anything misaligned is going to have to leave. We've got the ascendant sitting in Cancer. We also have this new moon in a trine to the 7th house in Capricorn. And so there is this fall energy is what this is looking like for me, connected to the masculine collective, because what they're showing me is the archetype of the Emperor and the Hierophant. And so when you think of the 7th house too, it can also represent the fall energy. And the 7th house really is about these one-on-one partnerships, these one-on-one dynamics. Are they supportive allies? Are these committed relationships? Are they grounded connections? There's something here about needing to speak up and needing to speak your truth in some type of partnership or one-on-one dynamic where maybe it is going to be destabilized, right? And so Jupiter is going to be expanding that energy. We also have this moon in a semi-square to Jupiter in Cancer that's sitting in the 1st house. And when we think of the 1st house, this is our identity, right? It is the house of self. It's the energy that when people first meet us, that's the first impression that they're going to get when they connect with us. And so I feel this push-pull dynamic playing out between safety and emotional security. And there is this call really under this new moon to expand beyond our comfort zones. And so you might be feeling the tension of maybe wanting to stay small in a one-on-one dynamic, or to step into your greater path of service and purpose, because Virgo is the sign of service. The Virgo Pisces axis is the sign, they are the signs of service. And with this new moon in a square to Uranus in Gemini at 1 degree, this is going to create a sudden shift. There could be sudden communication breakthroughs. There could be an unexpected event that is going to disrupt these very toxic patterns, especially with Uranus sitting in the 12th house. This could also be an unexpected arrival of communication from maybe somebody that has blocked you previously, because we do have Uranus in the 12th house of Taurus at 25 degrees 54, which to me is screaming Knight of Wands, Page of Swords. And so there could be an unexpected arrival. There very well could also be an unexpected departure, because the 12th house does deal with karma. It is also the house of self-undoing. It's the house of spirituality, and it is the house where we bury the past. It also will present us with maybe the mask getting ripped off, connected to a hidden enemy that we once sought after as like a friend or a lover. Okay, we also have this new moon in a trine to Chiron in Aries, and Chiron is opening up this healing opportunity, I feel, right? Trines are like portals. It's a portal opening up to heal, but this is going to have to come through taking courageous action, right? It might also require self-acceptance and embracing that inner warrior archetype, right? And so this is where our service path also becomes our medicine, because Chiron is sitting in the 11th house of our bigger external community. And with it in a quincunx pattern to Neptune and Saturn, still sitting in Aries, both of these energies in retrograde, both of them about to dip back into Pisces in the 10th house of our midhaven, the collective midhaven, which is also, you know, our public reputation, our public image. And because these are retrograde, and with Saturn at 0 degrees 35, there is the wounded archetype being activated. There is that core wound being activated. And I do feel with these planets, both in retrograde in this quincunx pattern to the Virgo New Moon, which to me, I always say a quincunx or an inconjunct aspect is like that pebble in the shoe, right? I know when I wear flip-flops and I go for walks around the campground, I always get that pebble in my flip-flop, and it's a little annoyance, right? But it doesn't go away. It's kind of like that niggling feeling in the background. And so this quincunx pattern is also happening with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius in the 8th house. And so the 8th house is the house of death and transformation. It is the house of shared resources. And Pluto is sitting in the 8th house of Capricorn. So we're doubling down on the Cancer houses and Capricorn houses. But there is a King of Wands world energy. And so the King of Wands is a visionary leader. It is a masculine archetype. And there is a completion of a cycle here. There is the winding down of perhaps a connection that was tied to financial security or shared resources coming to an end. But I do see this energy of the Magician and the Two of Swords. And so something here is still blocked. And the Two of Swords for me screams, I don't want to see this. I don't want to look at this. And I do feel this Virgo New Moon is saying you're going to have to take a leap of faith too, even if the path forward is not clear. And so there's spiritual surrender for sure. There's a need to balance practical responsibility with spiritual surrender because the path forward is going to be unclear. And I don't think that certainty or that clarity is going to come full circle until we get to that second Virgo New Moon, which is happening at 29 degrees. So the beginning and the end. And so whatever plays out over the course of the next month is going to be pivotal for our path forward on the spiritual journey. And with this quincunx to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, there is deep transformation within community, within our collective roles within the spiritual community, and also our relationship to power dynamics. All of this is going to unfold because this is considered a black moon because it is the third new moon, I believe, in a season. And so this is very transformative. There's something very powerful, I want to say, unfolding under this new moon energy over the course of the next 2 days. And so anything at all that doesn't align with our new truth, that we are grounding in with our new truth, our new values because of the Mercury retrograde energy, this is all going to have to be released. And so I know a lot of us went deep into shadow work, deep into hermit mode, just around the 8/8 portal, I would say. About then is when, I think that was close to then when I stopped creating content. It was like I was just told by my higher self and my spirit team to be quiet. It was time to spend that 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks, just on myself, filling my own cup, reworking the programs, right? The program beliefs, and getting grounded in a whole new routine connected to my health. And so I just feel all of these energies working together under this new moon are really suggesting that this is a seeding new moon. It's going to be about planting seeds, but it's also going to be testing us. It's going to be testing us, and it's going to require discernment. It's going to require massive discernment and taking grounded action, because when I think of Virgo energy, I do think of the Knight of Pentacles. And so the seeds we plant now are not going to bloom instantly, but they are going to bloom by putting one foot in front of the other and taking the time to be methodical with our actions and to not give up, right? The Knight of Pentacles knows it's going to grow something solid and stable. It's the most reliable knight in the tarot, but it's also the slowest knight. And so there's going to be swift changes, and then we're going to have to take our time to build something solid. But this is a major reconfiguration, and this is happening in a certain area of our lives where it is exactly needed right now to prepare us for these eclipses. So with that being said, let's dig in with some cards. Feel free to like the video, comment on the video. It does let me know you enjoy the content that I'm creating. It's going to encourage me to keep coming back and doing more for all of you. But let's jump in with some cards. Let's see what the cards have to say connected to this Virgo new moon. let's talk about these cards. So from the energies that came through on the cut, it does feel like fast forward movement, first and foremost. So let's talk about this first card out with the deep knowing in reverse. And so upright, I would say we do have High Priestess energy. And when I think of the High Priestess, there is this energy of like a secret. A secret. There's third party energy coming through with this card today is what I'm feeling. And so there is going to be a revelation. And I do feel under this new moon, there's some type of secret coming to light. High Priestess energy is attached to Pisces. So if you have any early degree Pisces or Virgo energy, I do feel this new moon is going to be affecting you more than other signs, or early degree energies in any of the mutable placements. But I do feel there is a deep knowing here of some type of separation on the horizon. It does feel like a separation. I just want to say, like, the cat is out of the bag under this new moon energy. The next card out was happy, happy. There is going to be an opportunity being presented once this truth comes to light. And I also feel there's this energy of somebody's not been heeding the guidance from their own intuition, from their own spirit team. But this happy, happy card, it's like something here is about to get cracked wide open. I do feel a Page of Wands energy. I also feel abundance. I feel an abundance of downloads. Look at all of these light codes saturating this beautiful, vibrant woman. I feel somebody here is like a star. Somebody here could very well work in the spotlight, work in the public eye. But then there is also this need to take a step back and be the observer. This is the card of discernment. I think it's time to really examine and take a deeper look as to what it is that you want to manifest, what is going to bring you emotional contentment, what is going to bring you that wish fulfillment. And once again, the egg energy, we get this fox sitting on an egg. And so the fox energy can be a little bit shady at times. And so be mindful. I do feel there is this energy of like a hidden enemy being exposed, somebody that you probably deeply trust. And I also feel 49 breaks down to 13, which is the energy of death. There is an ending here because I do feel somebody here has definitely misplaced their loyalties in a situation that keeps triggering that core wound, that keeps hurting them. And so oftentimes we will enter into these very toxic relationship cycles thinking that this is our twin flame. And these people will continuously poke the wound, poke the bear, and until we recognize that mirror that we're here to break free from. And so there is this energy of misplaced loyalties. And what I want to say is this person does hold the key. Because when we enter into these false dynamics and they trigger these wounds in order to bring them to the surface, then we have to finally look in that mirror. We have to look at these wounds, and then we can call in that true loyal heart. And so I do feel a walking away. I do feel a need to walk away from a misplaced loyalty, 333 on the timer when I looked up, and to walk away with your head held high. I do feel that energy because this new moon is all about planting those seeds for building that solid foundation. And so major crossroads energy. And we can't build a foundation with another until we have built that solid foundation of self. And so there is going to be a major change in the wind. Major change in the wind. When I think of a zebra never, ever changes their stripes. And so if you've been holding on to a connection, hoping, praying, wanting them to change, you know how hard it is to instill solid change in your own life. I wouldn't be holding your breath. If you've been waiting for somebody to fully commit to you and it's never come around, if you've been in a cycle, I don't know, maybe for the last couple of years, hoping for commitment, hoping this person would change, I don't see that changing. But there is a change in the wind. There's a change in perspective here. And so breathe it out. There's going to be a truth coming to light. And whatever this truth is that comes to light, it's going to clear the path connected to the next Virgo New Moon. This is a 29 card. So there is something here beginning in order to complete a cycle, and this will lead you to your divine counterpart. This will lead you to the person that you are here to build a solid partnership with in connection to your mission. The chop wood is the mission card for me. It's like when you awaken, you chop wood, you carry water, you do the same thing as before, but now you're stepping into full service. And when you come into that mission work and you come into that union with that counterpart, that is when the blessings come. So get ready to take a leap of faith. There is going to be a new beginning in love. There is a soulmate connection here, but it's going to require rigorous honesty. It's going to require truth. And I think Jupiter is expanding that need for connection within partnership. So if you've been begging somebody for time and attention and connection, maybe it's time to look in the mirror and take a step back, because we should never have to ask for basic human decency, especially within any type of one-on-one dynamics or partnerships. So let's talk about the cards on the table. The first card out was the Two of Coins. We did get the Death card, if you remember. So Scorpio, Libra with the Justice card. And so this is screaming endings, especially with the central card being the Moon. And right beside that, we did get the Emperor out in the central row with the Temperance. So we get major, 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 major with the Strength card. This is about breaking chains. I do feel a masculine taking charge. We do have divine masculine coming out very loud. This is Aries energy. And so something here is still hidden. I do feel this energy of overwhelming fear. I do feel something is going to come out. There could be unexpected emotions bursting onto the scenes. Maybe somebody has repressed their true feelings for a situation. I do feel this is coming to light, and it will create balance. It will create balance. But there is this storm brewing in the background, because I do feel a major injustice here that does need to be made right. I think somebody here has had a wall of steel around their heart. Could be a Libra. We do have Capricorn, Scorpio, Libra, Aries, Pisces, Sagittarius, Leo. We have Earth energy. And then we have that finality. We have that final ending. And so it's going to take great strength to walk away, I feel, from a foundation that was built in some type of financial entanglement. We have an Emperor here that might be walking away from everything. Walking away from everything. And I do feel something has been hidden here. Something definitely has been hidden here. But I feel this Emperor is walking away from a false foundation. And I do feel he's walking away with what feels like 10 swords in his back, the ultimate betrayal. But he's walking towards putting in the work with a counterpart. Because if you remember what came out on the bottom of the deck, we did get the 8 of Coins to the 9 of Coins. And this masculine is examining, should I bring in an offer? I don't really have much to offer. I do feel we've got a masculine here that's been going through a major realignment. Both of these energies are Virgo. We do have a divine feminine coming through who is single, very much single. This is somebody very abundant, very loving, very generous, somebody very heart-centered, somebody heart-centered in her truth, somebody that is in high connection to spirit with the doves. This is somebody that is probably a healer. Whenever I think of Virgo energy, I do think of Mary Magdalene. And I do got to say, there's gossip here. There's gossip about some type of union coming together, and there is going to be a message. There could very well be an unexpected text message or email. I don't think it's going to be quite like that Knight of Wands, although I do remember it popping up on the cut. So there's going to be swift action being taken, and there is going to be a message coming. So if you resonate as a divine feminine, I think if you're resonating as a divine feminine, you're focusing on your work, you've healed from a sense of lack, because we see the 2 of Pentacles above this gentleman working on something. We do have a feminine that has been working on building a lot of abundance, emotional security, financial security. There could be, I just feel people are talking about this divine feminine. Maybe this divine feminine was left out in the cold with that 5 of Pentacles below. And I do feel maybe that's the betrayal that's reaching completion, because we stopped at the Tree of Life. Oh, and look at that. Below that, we do get this Ace of Wands. And so there is going to be an unexpected spark, an ignition point in order for some type of union to come together. And so there is, I just want to say, like a cellular DNA activation. And there is going to be an opportunity for a new beginning, and things might get a little bit explosive here. So with this Emperor coming through, I do feel there is a masculine taking charge, and he's not telling anybody about his plans. So let's look at this Moon energy, because whatever is sparked today, there is an ending. There is the shedding of old ways. And there is a shedding of a partnership, right? When I look at this astrology, that 7th house, that trine to that 7th house and that Jupiter energy is in opposition to the 7th house, right? There is going to be a breakdown of a one-on-one dynamic that I feel has been slipping away. And this is going to be fair. This is what's fair. This is what is just. So let's take a deeper look at this moon energy. And let's see what potentially could be exposed. Well, we get the 7 of coins. I do feel this is the ending of a relationship cycle for the last 7 years. A very karmic relationship cycle coming to completion, where I do feel there has been these misplaced loyalties, Taurus energy, and there is a need to create balance, more Taurus energy. So we did have Uranus go into Gemini, and it will be backtracking right shortly, and it's going to go back into Taurus. There's going to be a need to clean something up here. There's going to be a need to make something right. I do feel there's a situation here where there's not equanimity. There's not been equal giving and receiving. And yeah, there is a karmic relationship cycle coming to completion. The Lovers in reversed. So that really is connected to the Uranus and Gemini energy. What do we have on the bottom of the deck now? And there is potential reunion with a divine feminine. There is a true pair coming through on the board that I feel has been in separation, possibly for the last 6 or 7 years. And I do feel this Virgo new moon is going to be triggering a lot of nostalgia. I think somebody is reminiscing about this Empress, and I also feel this Empress energy does have a lot of options that want to come forward and work with her, but I do feel she's committed to focusing on herself and working on herself because she knows her worth and she knows her value. And this is triggering a lot of, I want to say, a lot of friction, a lot of confusion, a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors, but this is going to trigger movement forward. And so there is going to be an opportunity to plant that seed for long-term abundance, to walk through this portal gateway to your new sense of destiny is what this is feeling like. And this could very well lead to a life partnership. So you could be dealing with a Venus in Cancer. We have more Virgo, lots of Virgo energy. We do have Aquarius and Leo. So I really do feel it's kind of time to stop overthinking, to release the fear, to reprogram that mental wiring, right? I do feel somebody here has gone through a lot of sleepless nights, thinking about this, pondering about this, shining that light. We do have the Hermit. The Hermit holds a lot of spiritual wisdom, and there is a cycle reaching completion. And so that pivot point is here. That divine why is being presented here. And I do feel somebody just wants to go back and drink out of this holy cup. But there's been third-party interference due to some type of addictions or codependencies. It's like this masculine has been caged in a very karmic cycle with a karmic soulmate. And I do feel this masculine is realizing he has the power. And his voice, activating his truth and his voice, is really where that power lies. So let's get a closing message here today. Oh, look, I got a deck back here. Let's get a divine energy oracle card, and let's see what the closing advice is for this Virgo new moon. Look at that. Accept what is dying and reflect on your truth. We can't bring this past baggage into this new cycle with us. So reflect, I want to say, on your heart-centered truth and accept what is dying, because these eclipses are going to ensure that whatever is dying, whatever is misaligned, whatever is misguided is going to be eclipsed out of our lives, so we can fully step into the embodiment of our service mission. So what is the closing advice card? I love it. Change tracks and do something different. So do something different than you have always done. If you want a new cycle to begin, then you have to evaluate what's no longer working, and you're going to have to try to do something different. This very well could be connected to somebody going through a Virgo North Node activation. Doesn't have to be, but really look to the Virgo Pisces axis within your birth chart, because it is time to change tracks. Pisces does, I feel, rule illusions and addictions. And so I think somebody has spent a lot of time thinking things through. And it's time to embrace this change. But the karmic cycle has to reach completion before you can take that leap into the fool's journey. And so things might not be clear moving forward, but there is a need to let go. You need to let go of the heaviness so you can enjoy the present moment. So really take that time over the weekend to reflect on your truth and accept any disappointments gracefully, because something here is coming to an end and we can't keep clinging to control, right? We need to refine our attention, and that is what I have for the Virgo New Moon message. It feels good to be back, so stay tuned and I will see you one day next week, everybody.